But so today's Monday, and you got a monster out there. You got a monster in the Gulf of Mexico. This is no joke. It's 155-mile-an-hour winds. All right. It is. That is unsurvivable if you get a direct hit. There are no structures other than Category 5 buildings that can withstand that type of impact. I am speaking from experience because I lived in Florida my whole life, and I worked in South Florida after Hurricane Andrew. And the devastation was real. And anywhere that sustained a direct hit, there was nothing left. They forecast that it's probably going to weaken, maybe from a 5 to a 4 or 4 to a 3. I don't know. But can you really count on that? Even a 3 is bad. But I've seen storm surge estimates anywhere from 10 feet and down. But there's going to be storm surge all up and down the coast. And there's also, depending when it hits, will it be low tide? Will it be high tide? What time? But people have plenty of warning. We've known for days now this was the likely scenario. There is a larger conversation, a more important conversation that's going to have to take place after this catastrophic event, is that the continued development of the barrier islands on the west coast and east coast of Florida. There is no more beautiful place in Florida than these barrier islands. The barrier islands are beautiful. Sanibel, Captiva, Siesta Key, beautiful places. But they are also the most vulnerable places in Florida. And people are getting a taste of what can happen when you take the chance to live in those areas. And we're going to have to think about continued development, and the local officials that are allowing this to continue need to be questioned. How are they getting insurance? What impact is this development having on the rest of the state and the rest of the insurance market? It's a conversation that has to be had. It has to be had, that we have to have somewhere after this event. But the people see it coming. Tampa area, south of Tampa, north of Tampa, all the way down to Naples. You're going to have storm surge. You're going to have 3-4 feet of storm surge. If you're on the barrier islands, you have to get out. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just someone who's lived in Florida my whole life, and I've been through it. And you see, and you know it's coming, right? You don't have to take off like far, like what they're saying. You can go inland. You got to pack up. You can't take your whole life. That it's not. You just can't do it. You gotta put your most valuable items in the car. jewelry. You got to go get some cash. You know, in a world that's trying to get rid of cash, you got to have cash, because sometimes if you don't have power, the ATM machines don't work. You got to put things in Ziploc bags, put your name on them, put your address, and spray paint on the outside of the house, and you just got to go, right? You know, a house can be replaced even when you don't think it can be, but a life can't be replaced. A life can't be replaced. And if you're in the middle of a raging storm, they're not coming to get you. They're not going to come to get you. If you don't heed the warnings, they will not take police officers and other police officers, firefighters. They're not going to put them in harm's way. They'll be ready to go after the storm passes, but not during the storm. So once that thing starts coming, they're done. They're not coming to get you. If you're elderly, if you have an elderly mom or dad or relatives, you got to get them off the coast. You got to get them inshore. You got to get to a shelter. You know, you got to get to a shelter, and you got to hunker down. And I've seen people posting on the Siesta Key Facebook page that they're afraid of the debris that's there, and they're asking for Governor DeSantis to get the debris removed. That's not happening. It's not happening. You know, he's already made a statement on that. You know, gone through a hurricane. It takes a long time for the debris to get removed, and they got to have a place to put it all. You know, a lot of it goes to dumps. A lot of it has to go out of state to other dumps. You just can't do it. If you live within, you know, if you live on the beach, if you live in those areas, you just have to, you know, forget the plywood, man. I see people putting plywood over windows. That's not going to help you against storm surge. Just not. There's on YouTube, I think there's a time-lapse video of storm surge that happened, I think, Fort Myers Beach a year or two ago. And it's a couple hours, but it documents the slow progression of the storm surge and then how it goes down. And there was a home in the video that was up on stilts, and it got washed away. The home, the business, whatever it was, is on stilts. They got washed away because water is heavy in mass. It's very heavy. It's like lava. It just rolls over everything. It inundates everything. It makes everything buoyant, and then it washes it away. So, please, pack up and go. You got plenty of time. Head to shelters. Head inland. You know, if you're in an RV park and your RV has power, it's mobile. I know those people are experienced. There's a lot of RV parks and mobile home parks on the west side. You gotta go. You gotta go. You know, you see the track. Head south. Get inland and head south. Head towards the east coast of Florida. And stay overnight. Walmart parking lot, Bass Pro Shop, somewhere. Park. problem is, so don't mess around. Don't mess around. Today's Monday. You have to a problem tomorrow night. But don't think, there's always someone who thinks they can write it out. And the problem is, you might be able to write it out. You might get lucky. But a vast majority of people don't get lucky. They don't get lucky. And they lose their life. I see there's a couple of people watching. And I was reading the Facebook page of the people over in Siesta Key. And you can't stay there. You cannot stay in a Category 5 store, a potential, or even a 4. Buildings, a lot of residential buildings. I just recently saw a video that during, is it Helen or Helene? That metal roofs. I was told that a metal roof can withstand. I don't know what it's supposed to withstand, but people go to a metal roof to help with the effects of a hurricane, right? I watched metal roofs on a video. They were peeling off the house. What good is it that people pay all that amount of money for a metal roof if the metal roof is peeling off the house, right? So please, I'm in Fort Lauderdale and I'm preparing. But I can tell you, I'm someone that's worked in construction. I've worked in construction in the past. I did roofing. I worked during I was in the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew. And I saw things there that are unbelievable. 2x4s right through a tree. Okay? Right through a tree. I don't think impact windows are going to help you from a 2x4 going through a... if you can go through a tree, it's going to go through an impact window. So please, heed the warnings. Grab what you can. Put your stuff in Ziplocs. You take an inventory of everything in your house. If you do have content insurance, if you have homeowners insurance, I can tell you from experience, you got to take a picture. If you have TVs that hang on the wall, you got to take a picture of the TV and the label telling you what type of model it is, the serial number. Because these insurance companies will put you through that. You know, if I can tell you from what I went through that they will open up, they'll declare a emergency, what is it? A disaster area, right? They'll declare a disaster area, and then they'll open up a chance to get loans. And I think the most you can get is $25,000. It's a loan. You can pay as little as $100 a month. I think I paid $93 a month. And FEMA, and you can get a loan through the SBA on a disaster loan. And I forget what documents I had to have, but I had to take out a loan because I had homeowners insurance, but I couldn't afford the deductibles, right? My roof was like 20 grand to replace, and I had like a $6,000 deductible. I didn't have 6 grand, so I had to take out an SBA loan to help pay for the deductibles. But you got plenty of time. The writing's on the wall. The track hasn't really swayed too, moved. It's a little up, it's a little down. But a Hurricane 5, 155 mile an hour winds right now. It might go down to 140. Nothing can withstand that. It can't. It just can't withstand it. You'll get lucky. You'll have a house here and there that, that has little damage. Places the roof's going to be gone. And just get your documents and put them in Ziplocs. Put your name in there. Make sure you got something in there. When you put your documents in there, make sure you put a piece of paper that gives your current information of your cell phone numbers or an address. So if something were to happen and you lose, that bag floats away, it has a chance of staying dry because it's in a Ziploc. And then whoever finds it, you might be able to get it back. All right. Take pictures of your driver's license. All right. Take pictures of your driver's license with your. Sorry about that. But some tips. Take your cell phone. Take your cell phone and take pictures of your driver's license, your social security card, any documents that you may have, insurance declaration page. The first page. Take pictures. Take pictures of everything that's in your house. Right? You can take pictures of everything in your house, but from experience, you just can't take a picture of it. If you have insurance that covers the contents, not only do you have to take a picture of the TV, but you got to take a picture of the tag on the back that says make and model. Right? You can write off if you lose food, if you lose power and the food goes bad. Document how much money worth of food, estimate how much money worth of food you had in there. Right? Because if you lose power from this storm, you're probably going to lose everything in the fridge. The fridge, you can keep the door shut and it's good for like a day. Right? But then after that, you just can't do it. It's not going to. So, and then after you use your phone to take pictures of your valuables, your driver's license front and back, your social security card front and back, for any type of ID that you might have front and back. If you take pictures of your contents of your house, just don't keep them on your phone. Forward those pictures to other relatives. So in case something were to happen, you lose your phone, anything that can happen, at least you got a backup, right? You can go to the cloud. Some people will, if you don't have the cloud or you don't know how to access it, you can send it to a relative who may live somewhere else. And then when you get a replacement phone or something, they can at least they have it and they can send it back. Because if you evacuate from an area and there's devastation, normally they will not let you back into those areas unless you have identification. You have to ID as someone who lives in that area, because they're not going to let people just drive through there and try to film stuff and put it on YouTube. Okay? And if the damage is bad enough, they prepare. If you live in those places and after you evacuate, prepare if it is a lot of damage. They may not even let you back in. They may not let you back in. They may deem those areas unsafe and they won't let you in. So I've seen it. People get frustrated. They want to get back to their house, but the authorities will not let you in. And in some of these areas, those low-lying areas over there on the West Coast, just like we saw recently, those areas might get, the roads might become unpassable from sand. So this is no joke. This is no joke. 155 mile an hour winds. Maybe it goes down to 145. Maybe it goes down to 130. But if the storm is traveling 10 or 15 miles an hour, you got to add that speed onto the sustained winds. If the winds are at 130 and the storm is moving at 15, Add 15 miles an hour. Okay, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just someone who's been through this. Um, if you're north of the storm, if the center were to go right over Tampa, okay, anything within if the storm if it goes over Tampa, right? Anything within that eye wall is gonna be like a tornado like you see on TV, right? A tornado goes right over a certain area, and it leaves like a scar on the surface, right? You see this wide track of property, like a mile wide, that is completely devastated. That's what the eye does. The eye is like a giant tornado. If it's 70 miles wide, the eye is going to leave a 75 mile wide, just scorched earth. Okay? If you're north of the storm, right? If you're north of the storm, it's not gonna it's gonna be intense, but not as intense, because the way the wind rotates counterclockwise, the people to the south of the eye is gonna get hit the worst, right? Because that's the water. Because the water, the winds are coming off the ocean. It's pushing the water inland, right? So you're gonna get bigger storm surge. To the north of the storm, you're getting the wind that's coming off it's going to be going in the opposite direction. It's coming off the land, and it's going to be pushing the water out, right? Not so much as the water in. The water is going to be going out. So if you're in south of the eye wall, you're in the if right now it says it's going to be somewhere around the Tampa area. If you're in St. Pete, if you're on those barrier islands out there, if you're south of St. Pete, Bradenton, you're gonna get the higher storm surge. That's just the way it works, because the wind's pushing the water. You're gonna get the wind coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so take pictures with your iPhone. Okay, hold on. Whatever your phone you use, iPhone, Samsung, take pictures. Take pictures of your contents. I can't say that enough. If you have homeowners insurance that covers contents, which most of us do, okay? When you go to an insurance company, I've been through it. I've been through it. I was through Wilma, and I've also been through Andrew. Okay, they're gonna set up these little towns, these little insurance towns with tents. There's gonna be long lines, and they're gonna be processing your information. These insurance companies, whoever they are, they come in, they set up tents. This is what I went through. You get in the line. That's why you gotta have your documents. You gotta have, if your house is paid for, make sure you have your deed. Make sure you have insurance papers, the declaration page. Take pictures on your cell phone. Then put those documents in Ziploc bags and seal them, right? So they don't get wet. Okay? And then take back those pictures up to the cloud, or send them to relatives. Or if anyone else, like if you have a family of 5 and everyone has a cell phone, send it to everyone. So in case you forget your phone or something happens, someone else has the pictures, right? And then when you go to these little insurance towns, you're going to file a claim. And if you think they're coming out there right away, they're not coming out there right away. Because they might have 10,000 policyholders. And it's going to take time. Right? So then after that, you got to go to the SBA. You got to get a loan to help you pay for the deductible. I think you can get up to 25 grand. Right? But get off the coast. Get off these islands, these barrier islands. They cannot. But I just can't. I can't tell you what's about to happen. Right? When I worked down in Miami, South Miami after Hurricane Andrew, which was a Category 5, there's nothing. There's nothing. We didn't even get a storm surge. It was wind. It was wind. It leveled everything. Houses were blown away. Um, just, I remember driving down I remember going down the turnpike, and it was a weird feeling because I was looking at trees and grass, long like grass and stop signs, and everything was tilted to the right. Everything was tilted to the right, like the wind blew everything over. And when you were going down the road, it was an odd feeling. It felt like you were like lopsided because the trees were going this way, the grass was going this way, stop signs were blown this way, everything was blown this way. It was crazy. It was really crazy. And I passed by. I remember seeing this. I think it was a Holiday Inn. It's like a 9-story Holiday Inn, and there's probably pictures on the internet, and half of it was gone. Half the building was literally gone. You could see the steel girder sticking out the side. What happened to the rest of the building? You know, or homes that had tile roofs. You know, a tile roof, a house, a tile roof probably got hundreds of tile, right? You go into an area, the tile roof's gone. I'm like, where'd they go? Where are the tiles? They're not in the backyard. Where'd they go? So these like these 5-pound tiles, concrete tiles, were completely gone. You know, mailbox is gone. So sometimes you gotta put the you gotta scare the bejesus out of people. But I've been through it. The Hurricane 5. You gotta pack up and you gotta go. You know, go to a shelter. Um, Everyone there is in the same boat you are, so there's no shame. There's no shame to get out of the shelter. You know, to go to a shelter. Um, I remember my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was with us. This is going back 3 or 4 years, and there was a Hurricane 4 coming, and it went right up the center of the state of Florida, knocked power out. Not, my sister had evacuated from Fort Lauderdale, and she thought it was gonna be okay to go to Orlando, and she got stuck there because she lost power, and people had to pull over on the side of the road because they were running out of gas because the gas stations didn't have power. Right? My mother-in-law had just come back from visiting her sister in Texas at the time, and I put her back on a plane. She wasn't here 24 hours, and I'd already booked her. I think it was Southwest, one of the last flights out, because I didn't. I was so worried. I didn't want to have to deal. I had enough to worry about than my elderly mother-in-law, and I put her right back on a plane. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon at a Fort Lauderdale airport. It was one of the last flights out. I got her on, and that was a load off of my mind that I didn't have to worry about that. So that might be an option if you have elderly parents or someone that you're taking care of, and it might be an option if it's a couple $100 or $300, and they got someone there where they can go, out of the state. It looks like this is going to cut straight across the strait into the Atlantic, right? So you have to worry about going up into, it doesn't look like you have to worry about going up into Georgia or North Carolina again. But no, there's a lot of options. Get to a shelter. If you have elderly parents, maybe get them, if you can, get them on a plane and get them out of here. They'll be safe. So I'm in Fort Lauderdale, and I was worried all weekend. I was watching this thing all weekend because even though it would come across from the west coast of Florida, we're only 70 miles wide. It literally takes us from Fort Lauderdale to drive to Naples, which is straight across what we call Alligator Alley. It only takes you like an hour and 15 minutes. So You know, when it comes to like Tampa and stuff, I'm like a couple hundred miles away, and I'm like 3.5, 4 hours away by car. So I really don't, if it stays on its current track, we should be fine here. Um, I got this basketball hoop I got to take down because that'll get blown over. So I've talked enough. It's 10 after 12. I just left work. I'm coming home for lunch, and then I got to go see some of my afternoon patients. But it's pretty business as usual over here in Fort Lauderdale. But I've been monitoring the Facebook page, Siesta Key, those areas. Please evacuate. Plywood's not going to help you. Just not on that type of storm. You know, I can make you feel good and say, hey, hunker down. Make sure you got canned rations, canned rations to help feed yourself. Make sure you got some 3 days supply of water. And if you do, just hunker down. No, I'm gonna give you the bitter pill. Like, more than likely, you're gonna get some storm surge, strong winds if you're south of the storm, and you want to think about evacuating. So, you can replace a lot of things. You can replace a car. We have insurance. We have a lot of insurance normally. You can't replace your life. And I can tell you, someone who's lost a lot. I lost a lot after the last hurricane. I'm doing pretty good a few years later, right? No problem. My life is pretty much back to normal. So listen, you all everyone stay safe. The 11 o'clock advisory shows it over the Tampa area. And then after that, I think we have to have a broader conversation about the development of our coastlines and if it's safe, and how much money is it costing people to live on these barrier islands. You know, if you got to build a house on a 10-foot high stilt, I don't know if that's the greatest place in the world to live. I think you're really taking a chance. Even if you've lived there for 30 years, right? I've lived there for 30 years. We've never had anything like this. Well, they're predicting that it's going to become more normal, right? So is it really worth living out on these islands? So, all right. You all be good. I'll talk to you soon. Sleepy Ape, aka Sleepy Ape, better known as John. I'm out.